All right, welcome to another episode of the Love, Hope, Lyme podcast. My name is Fred Diamond. Of course, I'm the author of Love, Hope, Lyme, what family members, partners, and friends who love a chronic Lyme survivor need to know. And Maria and Ashley, the hosts of the Love, Hope, Lyme podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate that as well. My book, Love, Hope, Lyme, what family members, partners, and friends who love a chronic Lyme survivor need to know is available on Amazon. And Ashley and Maria, as you both know, I've given away close to 2,000 e-versions of the book, the PDF. So if you'd like a PDF, if you're a chronic Lyme survivor, reach out to me either via Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to get you a copy of the PDF. I just want to make a disclosure that although we're talking about Lyme and Lyme disease and its co-infections, this is not a medical advice show. I strongly urge you to seek proper medical advice if you're looking for some treatment and some proper care for your Lyme disease and the co-infections. But I'm excited today. We have Ashley Baker and we have Maria. They're part of the Emerging Leaders Board for Project Lyme. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Ashley in person a couple of times. I met you at a book signing. I did, of course, Ashley, up in, I guess, was it Frederick, Maryland. It wasn't Hagerstown, but that was great. And then I saw you on Capitol Hill in the winter of 2024 at that great event for the quiet epidemic. And Maria, it's nice to meet you. Haven't met in person, but I've gotten to know you a little bit here, and I'm excited to hear your story. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to ask you both just to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Project Lyme and what you're doing with Project Lyme. Then I want to get a little bit into each of your stories, your personal Lyme stories, and get some of your advice for Lyme survivors. So, Ashley, why don't you go first? Give us a little intro. Tell us what you do with Project Lyme.
Yes, good afternoon. So, my name is Ashley. I am a Lyme patient and advocate and musician. I have been serving at Project Lyme for a couple of years now. Project Lyme is a 401c nonprofit based in New York City whose sole mission is to eradicate Lyme and tick-borne disease in America. I currently serve as the chair of their Emerging Leaders Board.
And yeah, you're also featured in a Lyme documentary. Do you want to talk about that as well?
Yeah, sure. So I was featured in the film I'm Not Crazy, I'm Sick that came out May 2023 on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. They actually followed me for like 2.5 years covering my Lyme story.
Yeah, it was remarkable film, and I strongly urge people to check it out. It was very impactful and just very emotional as well. Maria, it's great to see you. Give us a little intro. Tell us what your role is with Project Lyme as well.
Yeah, so my name is Maria. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I also have Lyme, and I've been loosely involved with Project Lyme since about like 2021. But this past summer, I joined the Emerging Leader Board, and then I haven't done a ton yet since it's only been 6 months, but I've been doing, I'm a graphic designer, so I've been making some reels and doing things for social right now. And I'm like excited to continue to grow and be part of the board.
Very good. So, Ashley, why don't you go first? Why don't you give us whatever you want to tell us about your Lyme journey? And, again, it was documented in the film, but, give us some insights and whatever it is you'd like to share.
Absolutely. So the word Lyme first came into my life in 2018. Not after a tick bite or after a bullseye rash, but after getting a knee injury. Ended up getting bizarre onset symptoms that left me bedridden. And after almost a year of misdiagnoses, I ended up finding out I had a Lyme infection. They don't know when I got it. And from there, it just was an entire journey of advocating for myself, finding a Lyme literate doctor who I'm still being treated by to this day. So it's been a lot of ups and downs between the medical community and just figuring out myself in this new chronic Lyme world.
Yeah. So, what else do you want to share? Again, you didn't know that you had Lyme, but then you had this knee injury, and then all of a sudden, all these things just started appearing.
Well, I did not know that Lyme bacteria can sit dormant in the body for months or years. So, of course, I was very, shocked to find out that I had Lyme antibodies in my blood. It was pretty bad. I ended up losing both of my jobs at the age of 23
Mm.
and had to completely start over. The symptoms were to the point where I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't even stand for long periods of time. And a lot of people didn't even believe I was actually sick because we're going off of, early stage Lyme and what's highlighted. So it was a lot of just, fighting and advocating for my own medical health and wellness. And, still to this day, of course, we're all still in this fight trying to raise awareness about late stage or chronic Lyme disease.
Yeah. Maria, why don't you give us your story, whatever it is you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I had chronic symptoms since I was about 16. And then when I was about 25, things kind of got worse. And my doctor had diagnosed me with Lyme. And I actually did not believe it for 2 years because I was like, well, there's no way that a chronic cough and chronic GI issues are caused by Lyme. What I didn't know at that point was that there was a difference between like just getting bit by a tick and, like stage one Lyme disease and chronic Lyme disease. And when those pieces came together 2 years later in 2021, that's when I really began to like seek alternative treatments because the antibiotics had not worked. I had relapsed twice. And, I ended up losing my job as well and kind of just having to figure things out for there and advocate for myself.
So you both mentioned, or actually you mentioned, I'm curious on Maria's thoughts as well, that a lot of people didn't believe that you had Lyme disease. And that's one of the reasons why, of course, I wrote the book, Love, Hope, Lyme, was to help family members, partners, and friends understand what someone very close to them might be going through without them really even understanding. So talk about some of that. And has everyone in your life watched the film? Has that helped them understand? Are people still resistant? What are some of the things that you've seen?
That's a good question. So, not everybody has watched the film in my life. I still have those people who kind of look at me a little sideways, like, you sure? Are you sure it's Lyme disease? And I'm like, yeah, at this point, we're pretty positive. But, it causes a lot of self doubt in your own mind, especially having friends and family who don't believe that you're really sick. It's not like it's something we're choosing. When you hear chronic Lyme, some people will throw the word hypochondriac out there, not understanding that, we're not choosing to have all of these symptoms. This is just all happening at once, and it's a very confusing time. So, that can be a hard time, especially the medical community, whenever they are the ones saying, hey, meditation will help you, or, pain medication or brain medication like Prozac or what have you, instead of getting to the root cause, you start to question yourself as well. You're like, hey, is this real? Is it worth putting all this extra effort in and swing against the current? So the film that I did, it did help raise a lot of awareness, but there's still a lot of people who, haven't taken the time to even watch it because they still don't believe that it's real.
Yeah, Maria, have you experienced that? What has been your experience with people in your life, when you've told them that you've had Lyme disease, you have
Yeah,
Lyme
no, for
disease?
sure. So I remember when I went out of work in 2019, my workplace, the people were not necessarily nice for me. And I was working in a medical company too. And they were
Mm.
just questioning it. They were like, well, can't you just change your diet? Or even just family members like, oh, Maria's not working. Why is she out of work? What's wrong with her? She looks fine. And I'm always smiling. So I definitely maybe look fine on the outside, but you don't see my day-to-day struggle. Like some days it's hard to get out of bed, but maybe the next day I will be out ice skating. So it was definitely just very frustrating that people have to see you like be sick in order to believe you. And honestly, still to this day, because I still experience a lot of symptoms, there's people that don't believe me.
So you both have made a decision to become advocates by joining the board of Project Lyme. So talk a little bit about that as well. Talk about, you know, why have you decided to step up, to spend time in this organization? Why is that? And what are you both hoping to achieve? Maria, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people I would say that are not educated about Lyme. And that is one reason why I wanted to, be a part of Project Lyme and continue to advocate. I did before joining Project Lyme, I did advocate a little bit, like, on my own social media platform and design some reels and stuff. But by having like a bigger platform and community, and I can spread the message more and continue to advocate, meet people like you and other great people that I've met through galas and just other Lyme events. And yeah, so I just want to continue spread awareness and be part of the community.
Yeah, how about Ashley? You're the board, you're the leader of the board. So talk about what led you to stepping up and becoming an advocate.
Absolutely. So, yes, in May of this year, actually, is when I was elected chair of the Emerging Leaders Board. Actually, this is the first year that the Emerging Leaders Board was formed. This was an effort put on by Ali Moresco, who is the
Mm,
executive chair of Project Lyme.
mm,
Essentially, the phrase goes, you don't get it until you get it.
mm,
And once you see the truth of chronic Lyme and, the immunocompromised community, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So it's almost like I have like this, I have to do it. It's like my life's passion now. Now that I've experienced the hardship and darkness that is Lyme disease, it's like I really felt like I had no choice but to stand up and be a voice for others as well. Because, it breaks my heart that there's people who don't have the money to, come to events or go to galas, or they might not have the community to network with to know they're not alone. So it's important for me to try to reach those people through multiple different mediums. And Project Lyme, that they provide us the resources and the support that we need to make these things happen, whether it's something small scale, meeting people in the park, passing out tick prevention, brochures, to something larger scale, like planning a music festival at Capitol Hill with Center for Lyme Action, for example,
mm.
foreshadowing something happening 2025. But essentially, me being a Lyme patient has pushed me into advocacy work, and it makes my heart feel very full.
No, that's great. And actually, when I first was doing the research for Love Hope Lyme for the book, uh, I didn't know that a lot of the stuff was going on. I had one person in my life with Lyme, and I just wanted to know more about it. I went into Facebook and I typed in Lyme, and I was shocked to find 1,000 groups, and some of them with tens of thousands of participants. And I've met a lot of people who are what I like to call community leaders, right? Where they've created a Facebook group or have a presence on other social media, or they've created a Lyme support in their state. Maybe they're leading that. Um, and I was shocked to find that. I'm kind of curious, what would be your advice? Lyme is there's the fatigue, right? There's the brain fog, a lot of the symptoms that make it even difficult. You both had mentioned this, even getting off out of the bed, right? So, how do you get the energy to also spend time advocating and getting involved? And Maria, you could take that question first. And then, what would be your advice for other Lyme survivors? I've met there's a couple different groups. There's those who are all in because they've seen what you're experiencing and the community has helped them. And there are others who don't want anything. They just want to be, left alone, if you will. So Maria, what would you recommend to people to get involved with? And then Ashley, your thoughts.
Yeah, so I would recommend for people to um, just seek out the resources that you need. Everybody's Lyme journey is very different. So everybody might need different resources. Some people might need more mental health, and then some people might need maybe more pain and joint care. So find a team that supports you and your needs and listens to you, and don't take no for an answer, because there is somebody out there that can help you get back to your life.
Very good. And Ashley, how about you? Like, what would be your advice for people on becoming an advocate or getting involved at any level?
So the main thing is, like you said, not everybody is going to be capable of taking that extra energy to also advocate while trying to get well from being so sick. So, one, don't feel pressure. You do not have to be a superhero in this space. We just really exist to let you know that you're not alone.
Mm.
And, if you have the capacity to raise awareness and reach other people, there's organizations out here that have laid out a footprint for you to follow. So you don't have to do it on your own. I also think it's important to remember that, people, we all have different journeys. And like Maria said, Lyme disease is going to look completely different depending on when you got it, your genetics, so many different aspects that change how it affects you. So the main thing is let people know they're not alone. And there's so many cool ways that you can advocate through this disease. There's so many ways that you can reach people through, music, political angles, art, uh, climate change. There's so many different topics. So there's really a niche for everyone in the advocacy space. Something else that feels important to say is that we don't talk about this enough, but suicide is a big problem in the Lyme disease community. People are being pushed to the point of feeling so alone and defeated. And, advocates out here like myself and Maria and the Emerging Leaders Board, we just want you to know that you're not alone. And definitely there's resources out there for you. Don't be afraid to reach out and, take a leap of faith for yourself and your own health.
Yeah, before I ask you both for your final thoughts, again, we're talking to Ashley Baker and Maria. They're part of the Emerging Leaders Board at Project Lyme. Thank you so much for stepping up and for doing something and for your involvement in continuing to educate the world about this disease. Before I ask you for your final bits of advice, if you will, again, I want to remind people this is not a medical show. I'm not a doctor. So, if you need medical care for Lyme, please go seek it, hopefully with a Lyme literate doctor or a doctor that understands Lyme and has a protocol and path. Is there any advice you have that has worked for you? Again, like you said, both of you very clearly, everyone's Lyme journey is different. I interviewed Dr. Robert Bransfield, one of the foremost psychiatrists in the Lyme world. And he said sometimes the infections, by the time people get to them, they've been infected for over 9 years, right? He said they've been going through the Lyme symptoms for 9 years before they, on average, get to him. So, it's isn't a disease like where all of a sudden, unless you, some cases, luckily see a bullseye rash, you get treated acutely right away. Otherwise, we're talking mostly about the chronic stage where everything kind of explodes and the co-infections, et cetera. If there's anything specific that you'd like to share that has helped you in your healing journey, besides getting involved with organizations and community, feel free to share at this point that may be helpful for someone in the Lyme world, something that specifically has worked really well for you. And if you want to say, if you don't want to share, that's fine too. Maria, is there anything that you want to suggest that might have been very, very helpful for you in your healing journey?
Yeah, for me, it's been low dose naltrexone. I know it's like a 50-50 if it works, but
Mm.
I was starting to develop like a lot of neurological symptoms that were really impacting my life. And by starting that, it honestly changed the quality of my life. And then also attacking it from all angles and looking at everything holistically instead of having that mindset approach that one thing is going to fix it all. The low dose naltrexone definitely helped, but it was like taking a ton of different things into account, like sauna, red light therapy, herbs, and all of that. Really all made a difference.
Very good. Are you still actively treating your Lyme disease?
100%, yes.
Yeah. Ashley, anything you want to share that might have particularly helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Maria said, it was a combination of multiple things. I did have an IV PICC line and
Mm.
rotated antibiotics, but the turning point for my healing was IVIG, which is
Mm.
healthy antibodies going into your blood. That is, they call it liquid gold. But my insurance has stopped covering it. So it's been about a year and a half or longer since I've had IVIG, but that was a true turning point in my healing journey for me. As mentioned, I'm still being also treated to this day. I may be going through a Lyme flare up now on the cusp, and my doctor's sending me out for an MRI. So it's an ongoing battle that, I don't know exactly what remission looks like. I'll have good days and I'll have bad days. And one other thing I think is important to share is the art of saying no and creating boundaries. So when you're a chronic Lyme patient, you try to keep up with your old life and stay busy, especially when you're in your 20s. And it's like you have to learn sometimes you have to say no and prioritize your health. Otherwise, you could slip into a bad flare that can leave you bedridden again very easily.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, and thank you both for being on today's show, and thanks again for both of you for your involvement in the Project Lyme organization, whose work is tremendous. And like we said before, it's about helping people understand, finding better treatment, providing care for Lyme survivors to make it through the day. And one thing that I've noticed since I've started doing the Love Hope Lyme podcast is that the community is critical. You know, I've met so many people who have said, thank God for organizations like Project Lyme and other organizations and social media for finding people who are willing to uh, support and be supportive and also provide some of the guidance, ideas that and validity for what they're going through. So thank you both so much for your willingness to share and for stepping up. It's not everybody who's going to step up and get active and participate and try to help find answers for a disease that we're all trying to find continued solutions for. Give us your final thoughts. Give us a final closing statement that you want to share to the thousands of people who are either watching. And once again, just to remind people again, if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks. Go give us a thumbs up and go listen to the previous episodes. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go up. And if you've purchased my book, Love, Hope, Lyme, with family members, partners, and friends who love a chronic Lyme survivor, go give me an Amazon review. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Maria, give us a final thought, something you want to share that you want to make sure gets across.
Yeah, so just always educate yourself. There's resources out there, and Project Lyme provides a ton. And then always just keep fighting and know that there's better days ahead.
Mm, very good. Ashley, bring us home.
Well, Maria kind of got me stumped there. That was what I was going to say, but I will go ahead and plug this in. Don't be afraid to try something new in
Mm.
terms of advocating. You could really do it anyway. I just want to share that I just gave, after 5 years of trying to get in, I just gave a TEDx talk on
Oh,
chronic Lyme and patient advocacy this past Tuesday. It'll be up on TEDx's platform in the next month or two. It took a while. It took a lot of no's because people hear chronic Lyme and they don't want to hear that. But don't give up because your voice and your story is important. So make sure that you know that you're not alone and that the Lyme community is here we got your back.
yeah, congratulations. I saw some of the social media posts about your TED Talk, and you're absolutely right. You know, get your story out there as comfortable as you are in sharing it because it will help somebody else on their Lyme treatment journey. All right, once again, I want to thank Maria and Ashley with Project Lyme. My name is Fred Diamond. This is the Love Hope Lyme podcast.